So I'm sure there's going to be so many of these videos uploaded regarding the Trump-Hillary thing. I like to think what I have to offer here is a unique perspective because I'm a non-registered non-voter. So, and I'm over 40, and I deliberately chose not to register to vote and deliberately chose not to vote is when I was very young. And then I spent a lot of years studying law, politics, and economics and knew for sure at that point that there was no way I was going to participate for a lot of reasons relating to topics that I will cover under another video because it's just too extensive. What I would really prefer to avoid is having people comment parroting, repeating the same thing that they've learned in 6th grade, which I've heard 1,000 times. Well, it's your civic duty to register and vote, and if you don't vote, you have no right to complain. You know, folks, I've dealt with that argument so many times, and each and every time what I come across is people who have no understanding of the law, have spent no real time studying how the country actually works, has not been in the trenches, has not been in courtrooms over and over again asserting rights and understanding how all that works. So please do yourself a favor and don't parrot that because it will just make you look stupid. I will almost certainly defeat you in an argument. I'm not saying this to boast. I'm not pretending to be superior. What I am claiming is to have a lot more study time behind me and therefore a much higher intellect in the area of law and understanding why I chose not to vote, that I'll probably be able to easily defeat your argument. Now, regarding this, having said that, I am supporting, for the first time in my life, Trump, a person getting elected into office. I think it's fascinating. I think what a lot of Hillary supporters have not thought about and considered, and it's very polarized between Hillary and Trump for a lot of the wrong reasons that are not really being well thought out. On the Hillary side, one of the biggest ones is America, if you study the original foundation and what we were supposed to be about, was never, ever, ever supposed to have this family dynasty thing going on. The Bush-Clinton dynasty. For the past, gosh, how long has it been? We're approaching 30 years now, and Senior Bush was involved long before then. This was never, ever supposed to be like this. This is what the Revolutionary War was about. It was never supposed to happen. We're now in this time where people will readily support having a dynasty in place because they just don't seem to understand that it was never supposed to be. So that being said, that concept is absolutely abhorrent and contrary to what America was supposed to be about. It was never supposed to have family lines involved in the highest parts of politics. Now, another big thing that a lot of Hillary supporters don't seem to understand is regarding the Second Amendment issue, and just to cover it really quickly because I don't want to spend a lot of time on it, is they don't seem to understand the intent behind the Second Amendment. The whole point is to keep government under control. So if Hillary wants to try to restrict gun rights in any way whatsoever, it's completely contrary again to what America was about. Now, I think the things that Hillary supporters don't understand in general is the point that people just want dramatic change. Trump is dramatic. Yes, Trump can be offensive. We get that. But Trump also seems to want to make dramatic change. He's a dramatic personality. And that is what people want. They don't want the ever-increasing lean towards socialism that's been taking place over the past who knows how many years, and especially all the millennials and young people that are being indoctrinated in to so many anti-American concepts, such as the socialism. Or another great example is the Hillary lack of transparency. People call Hillary a criminal. Is she legally, technically a criminal? No. But I want Hillary supporters to at least acknowledge and admit, if I support Hillary Clinton, I support someone who is not transparent. I support government officials' rights to hide what they're doing in their public office, to keep it from being public. That is inherently anti-American. Very much so. Politicians, of all people, are supposed to be the most transparent. So if Hillary is having her emails deleted, and no, don't go into the crap about her assistants doing it and whatnot, that's legal trickery. That's what lawyer scumbags do. I know. I've studied a ton of law and know how lawyers work. Then what? She's not being transparent. And when she made that comment recently when asked about how truthful she'll be and saying, I will try to be honest, I will try to be truthful in office, I'm sure that turned a lot of people quickly. But the point I'm making is that there are a lot of young people and a lot of millennials and maybe other people who are saying, no, I support a politician's right to hide government functions. It's very much like ex parte meetings and courtroom scenarios, and this happens all the time, and it proves how thickly corrupt America has become, whereby these meetings happen in a court case that are outside the courtroom between the judge, the prosecutor, and the defense attorney to arrive at whatever conclusion they're going to arrive at for the defendant. That's an entirely anti-American concept. The defendant should always be engaged in all aspects, and those three people should never be talking behind closed doors. This also goes into the sealed warrants and the sealed records. That should never, ever be happening. Okay, there's a reason why that stuff happens. It happens because there's corruption on some level. So it's a very scary concept to think about the fact that there are Americans now that support government officials' ability to hide what they're doing behind closed doors from the American public. There's a lot of hardcore Americans who disagree with that, just as they should, and they wanted dramatic change. And as obnoxious as Trump can be, he's also proven that he can be very powerful and strong and out there and perhaps create the dramatic change that people really want. So I'm fascinated by this. And as just a side note, a lot of the conspiracy theories that come into play about how the system is rigged, which I absolutely believe it is, interesting that Trump got in there. He's not a career politician. He's not one of the Brotherhood. So, but the one side note to that is, of course, he has an awful lot of Federal Reserve notes. So we can darn well bet he's never going to be challenging the Federal Reserve, which is what needs to be done and has needed to be done for over 100 years now. That's what's going to create the real change, because that's the core and root of all of our real problems, such as the money being tied into oil, etc., etc. As long as that's in place, we'll never have the alternative, virtually free energy sources. We will never have truly dramatic, real change. So I just wanted to make this video as brief as I could and try to explain my opinions based on not participating in the system and why I think it's fascinating and interesting and maybe hopeful that Trump got in there. Thanks for watching.